Let's go to KwaZulu-Natal, where the Premier Nomusa Dube-Ncube is briefing the media on key issues affecting the province. He is expected to respond to some of the key findings of the Cultural, Religious and Linguistic Rights Commission and Human Rights Commission's report into the July 2021 unrest and the Phoenix killings. Also on the agenda are disaster funding and the progress with the National School Nutrition Program. Let's now take you live to that press briefing.
Unfortunate incident in April 2022 that resulted in non-delivery of food items in some of the schools. The Executive Council was pleased to note that since the intervention that were made by the Executive Council, including the Premier herself, the National Department of Basic Education, the Provincial Department of Education, our Provincial Treasury, and other relevant stakeholders, the system did stabilize and every child was fed. The Department of Education also assured the Executive Council that all issues around this program have been resolved and thus will continue to run smoothly into January when the schools reopen. We also were briefed that Pasina Retail opted out of the contract in their letter that was dated the 26th of April 2023 to the head of department. On receiving the letter from Pasina, the head of department accepted the opting out of the contract by Pasina, and following that department, all the legal processes had to commence. The department indicated to the Executive Council that there are tangible deliverables demonstrating that the matter will be resolved amicably. The opting out led to a decision by the Department of Education to only continue with the second tender of service providers who procured food items on behalf of the school or cluster of schools. What this means is that after receiving the legal opinions and the extensive consultation with the KZN Treasury, Department of Education and other structures, the department elected to give the current 1,785 service providers a 3-year contract pending the finalization of all the legal processes. The NSP will continue to provide nutritious meals to more than 2.4 million learners in the province and 5,436 schools throughout the province, at a rand value of approximately 2.9 billion, inclusive of feeding, compensation, and employee nutrition education activities that are part of this program. It further contributes to the improvement of the livelihood of our poor communities through the creation of work opportunities. We are happy also to report that the program is very helpful to the community, because even during school holidays, some learners are able to go to the schools and they are able to get food even if they are not at school. In 2023 alone, this program created more than 14,868 work opportunities to food handlers and 246 chief food handlers who are recruited from unemployed parents, learners, and local youth to prepare meals that benefit the learners, as well as those that provide administrative support to the schools. The Executive Council also noted the report that we received about the state of readiness for 2024 academic year, and we were pleased with the advances that have been made by the Department of Education, including making sure that we prepare even as we move to the next quarter. The NSP will be ready because funds are available for the next quarter when the schools reopen. The department also indicated that it has already 92% of the learner-teacher materials that have been ordered, with some already delivered to schools. MEC Fraser concluded her educator post-creation process, maintaining a 90,057 pool of educators. Those are pools in all the schools that have been issued with the new post-provision norms and standard to determine the vacancies, if any. And this normally happens because you would find that there are schools that have got more learners and there are schools that have less learners. And what then happens is that from that pool, educators are moved around. There are vacancies, and the department has assured us that vacancies will be filled by the 15th of January, as the processes for recruitment are ongoing even now, through the allocation of the surplus teachers and open vacancies that will enable the schools to reopen without the shortage of teachers and the learning material. Parents and learners are also reminded that 2024 is the election year, not only for the government but also for school governing bodies. We encourage all parents to actively participate in the nominating and electing of the community members in good standing as members of the governing bodies of various schools. Passionate about the well-being and the effectiveness of the school community as well as the teaching and learning in our schools. If anything, remember that SGBs have an effect on the future of our learners and the future of the educators. So it is important that we find members of the school governing bodies that are really passionate and are serious about helping those schools to ensure that learning and teaching is taking place. The Executive Council also resolved in its work on municipalities that we have municipalities that have consistently not been able to provide proper services, not maintaining their financial health system. As a result, we had to resolve to intervene in terms of Section 139(5) of the Constitution at the municipalities of Umzinyathi, Utukela, and Dimpofana. All three municipalities have been under intervention of 139(1)B of the Constitution for several years, but we felt that the situation is actually deteriorating. As a result, we had to put the financial intervention, which then make it obligatory to ensure that the municipality recovers its finances. Despite our extensive support and recommendations that were made by the province to the respective municipal councils, we found that municipalities are posting negative audit outcomes because of the unfunded budgets that they've adopted, and they showed creditors that are above the norm of about 2% of their operating budget, and having defaulted on payments to major creditors despite the mediation efforts by the provincial government, among other financial challenges. It is a serious concern, I must say, that our municipalities are not really spending their monies prudently, but also they are not ensuring that they stick to their core mandate. But with the intervention from the provincial treasury, we are hoping that there will be tightening of oversight by the provincial government to ensure that those municipalities focus on their core mandate. Failures by the municipal councils to adopt the recovery plan aimed at the financial turnaround and improve service delivery, or failure to implement the remedial action, will lead even to the dissolution of these municipalities. The interventions will run for a period of 15 months from now, commencing in January, and will be regularly reviewed by the committee, but also by the Executive Council. We hope that this action sends a strong message to all municipalities in our province to improve their financial management and consequently the service delivery to the people as a key priority for local government in KwaZulu-Natal. it does concern us, ladies and gentlemen, that the communities would want the provincial government at all times to intervene in terms of bringing services, while constitutionally the provincial and the national treasury, including COPTA, make allocations for service delivery monies directly to municipalities. And when municipalities run out of money, when they can't pay their creditors, it forces the province to now have to go and intervene for the sake of ensuring that our communities do not suffer those poor financial management and governance by some municipalities. We also, at our meeting on Tuesday, received reports from the Cultural, Religious and Linguistic Rights Commission, as well as from the Human Rights Commission, where we were briefed on their preliminary findings on investigations following the July 2021 unrest. The briefing was part of the consultation process leading to the formal release of their final report. The South African Human Rights Commission was led by the acting chairperson, Chris Nissen, and the Commission for Cultural, Religious and Linguistic Rights was led by its chairperson, Professor Mosomo. We would like to state that the reports have not been officially released, ladies and gentlemen. Therefore, we cannot give you details or preempt the final report that is going to be released by the Commission and what it will entail. But we can assure you that we will be working with our social cohesion committees to ensure the full compliance and the implementation of the resolutions that are coming from the reports. We also engage quite extensively with those two reports, and we will be making specific responses to those commissions as obliged by the laws and the rules that we have to respond within 60 days of the receipt of the reports. On the Department of Education, of Health, this year the KwaZulu-Natal Department of Health unveiled a brand new graduation apparel for honorary dignitaries and the special guest of its nursing college graduation ceremony. The initiative was done in order to celebrate our African identity through the infusion of African print embroidery. The branding exercise included the changes to the color codes, interior lining of the gowns, as well as the beaded trimmings on the graduation caps, linking this with our own government branding. The gowns have been redesigned on the new pattern. And we are very excited that the nurses are proud because they've already started using these gowns on their graduation that happens this year. Whilst the graduation gowns for students will remain black to align with the universal academic practice and standards, the hoods have been redesigned to capture the new elements of the new apparel. And this new apparel has already been showcased, as I said, in the nurses' graduation that was held in September this year. We also saw MEC Health, Noma Kukusmelane, and other members of the senior management of the health department and those that they hosted in their graduation. If you want to see this apparel, where they call it revolutionizing the nursing profession. You can see it on KZN online. The apparel is there and it looks beautiful, and we really are proud of this initiative. We also, at the Executive Council, did endorsement of the appointments of the heads of departments. the recommendation that came from various panels, and we are happy that we have filled the post of the head of Department of Public Works, where Mr. Patrick Sboniso Majola was appointed as the head of Department of Public Works, and Ms. Glenrose Kaba, who was appointed as the head of Community Safety Liaison, respectively. The post of the head of Public Works became vacant following the previous incumbent exiting the employment of government in February 2023. The one of the community liaison has been vacant for quite some time now, because it's been vacant since 2022, but we are happy that this post has now been filled. We also welcome the appointment of these two heads of departments because of the experiences that they are bringing to these departments, the stability that we will get through these appointments, but also our quest to building a capable, ethical and developmental state in our governance. Ladies and gentlemen, you remember that the President of the Republic declared the 15th of December, which is tomorrow, as a national public holiday to celebrate the Springboks victory of 2023 Rugby World Cup, which was held in France. To celebrate this holiday, as the province of KwaZulu-Natal, we will lead a street carnival tomorrow as part of the Rugby Day celebration. The street carnival will be a spectacular display of arts, creativity, showcasing young and upcoming artists, musicians, athletes, an array of colorful costume dances and performances. While the main purpose is to celebrate the Springbok, the carnival will also be a vehicle to showcase the talent of our creative art, but also to show even the part of the development side of the rugby sport, as well as other athletes. The carnival will start at the Joe Pools in the North Beach and end up at Shaka Marine. The parade is aimed at creating the awareness of the provincial government's support for the sporting codes, including rugby. And we, as a provincial government, we will also use the opportunity to celebrate the 9 members of the Sharks who played for the Springbok during the World Cup. The Sharks would be with us during the parade, but unfortunately they won't be with us. We have met with them today because tomorrow they are leaving for their away match in Free State. But we are going to be joined by the developmental part. And we wish to urge all our people in South Africa, in KwaZulu-Natal, to come out with their braai stands and demonstrate their colorful everything during this festive, but also to celebrate our Springbok regalia, but also to celebrate ourselves as South Africans and the work that was done by the Springbok. We also received a report because we have, ladies and gentlemen, been having concerns about the state of readiness of our beaches in Durban. We received a report that indicated that 20 bathing beaches out of 23 are now open and they are safe for swimming along the Durban coastline. I actually was waiting to indicate that one of the beaches was closed because I drove there on Sunday and I found it closed. And when I received the report that no, it was then open on Monday, I'm still to go and see it for myself. But I was told that no, you went there on Sunday, but on Monday they were able to open it because they had received the results that indicated that the Mhlanga beach would now be open. But the central beaches of Umhlanga, the Durban central beaches, the northern beaches of Mdloti, they are all open. The trend that has been consistent with the excellent and acceptable beach water quality results that have been sampled in the few months are as a result of the hard work that they have to put in. We also want to assure our visitors that are going to be visiting our shores that the testing of the water occurs frequently, and we have a number of independent experts that are from the Department of Environmental Affairs who also help to quality assure the work that is done by eThekwini to ensure that the quality of our water is safe for our communities. So we want to encourage all our visitors to come to the coast and enjoy their time. The trend that we have been observing is that the 20 beaches are now safe for swimming. Ladies and gentlemen, we also want to thank you for taking your precious time to attend this media briefing, which I hope it's not the last one for this year of 2023. The provincial government, we appreciate the cordial relationship and the professional relationship that we have with you and that we've been having with you all year round. As we draw to a close, we wish you and your families safe and secure holidays, as well as our communities. Our cordial and amicable relationship continues in the new year, and please ensure that you spread our message that KZN, it's a no drink and drive place. There is no gender-based violence that is tolerated in KwaZulu-Natal, and we are actually more vigilant during this time on the matters of gender-based violence. As you know, that people are going to be in the festive moods, they're going to be visiting all the places of enjoying themselves, and that's where we see sometimes issues of gender-based violence coming up in those areas. But we are going to be having a number of inspections for illegal goods, for illegal alcohol, for taverns and places that sell alcohol during the times when they're not supposed to be, but also those that open in the times when they are not supposed to be opening, including monitoring that they're not selling alcohol to the underage kids. So we are going to be out there and monitoring even the spaza shops, just to ensure that our communities and our kids are safe during this time. I wish to thank you really very much for all the hard work that you've put in all the year round, and I hope you will find time to enjoy with your families. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That concludes our media briefing, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe what we should have said is the last one by the Executive Council, after the sitting of the Executive Council. But we're probably going to meet now quite a lot as government is out and about, making sure that expired goods are not on the shelves, that there's no drinking and driving, that people don't break the law, and when we meet again, we are still all together. We will close it at that, unless really there's a pressing question. I know some of the colleagues, when we engaged, I know the issues that they wanted to raise, but yeah, we'll start with you, Desmond, and maybe followed by Chris. Was your hand up here, Chris, and then I'll go like that, and 5. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay, Premier, thank you for the update. I think I heard you say that when the reports are released, you'll have 60 days to respond to it. But do you have any clarity on when that will be? Do we have a date yet around the release of those reports? We're talking about the school nutrition program, and casino retail essentially abandoning the contract, opting out of the contract. And you mentioned that there will be legal processes. Will that be to recover funds? I mean, are there funds that they owe government? Would be trying to get that? And you mentioned that it would be going forward, or currently it's a situation where it's only I think you called it the second tender, or I think it's like the other service providers. So at any point will there be a reinstatement of a service provider like casino retail, or is this going to be the status quo now going forward? And then on the issue of schools, school safety is also something that I wanted to chat about, because recently we saw that there was an armed robbery at a school, and I think I was told in that area that a week before a principal was shot at another school there. And so that seems to be also a growing concern. Did you hear anything back from the education department on how they are dealing with that scourge? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chris.
Thank you. Madam Premier, you mentioned the number of local governments that are not spending the money or their budget on what they should be spending it on, and then they're not able to pay the creditors.
The Premier there of KwaZulu-Natal, Nomusa Dube-Ncube, on a number of issues